Well, it's some 20 minutes to the top of the hour. Thank you for staying with us. We get into the news review now. Right before I introduce my guest for this segment, let me just let you know, as always, I got an interesting call yesterday from an oncologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Look, if you're a man, don't take your prostate for granted. It's a walnut-shaped, organ, very small. But if things go wrong with it, if things go south with it, the sort of problems it could give you, you could do without it, they say, but it's better you have it. Because even in terms of your, how would I even put this? In terms of your fertility, so to speak, or your reproductive system as a man, you need it. It produces the fluid that your semen, works with to ensure that you can actually have children. So don't take it for granted. It's there for a reason. If you're a woman, your fertility status, do you know? If there are any developments around your womb, if you are developing fibroids, who knows? You don't want to be there someday and all of a sudden, boom, you're in crisis. And that's why I'm recommending this morning that you make your way to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Here's why. On both counts, whether you're a man and you want to screen your prostate or you're a woman and you want to check your fertility status, you can get those screenings for free. Here's where you can locate Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic across Ghana. Here in Accra, they are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. The Takradi Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siaman Zema. If you'd like to call them, I suggest you do. The numbers are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But that only helps us start the news review segment. I'm pleased to have on board Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He is a political scientist. He also happens to be director of the Center for the European Studies at the University of Ghana. We've just lost him. We'll try to reconnect with him and get him back on the drawing board. But some of the matters we're discussing this morning on the show. Parliament is debating the 2024 budget. I'd like you to share with me. And if you don't find the live stream, there's something with Facebook nowadays. So Joy News on Facebook. I hear that there have been some changes effected, which see that when you go on Facebook, you may not see the live feed of this. I don't know, for some segments. But you can go to videos under Joy News and you'll be sure to get that. So share with me, what do you out there as a business person or whoever, what do you make of the 2024 budget? Was it exciting? Was it what you expected? What do you think it will do for us come 2024? And then again, looking at these two political parties, the NDC and the MPP, former President Mahama, current Vice President Bawumia, and what they've been saying out there. Are you convinced by what they are saying? What do you think about the policies? What do you think about what they stand for? But Dr. Bawumia has gone, digital and this and that, and we're going to do better for the economy. But what has he done so far? The former president has said a 24-hour economy and scrapping licensure exams, but modifying it, among others. Do you subscribe to that? Let me know. Shoot me your messages. Let me welcome back Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Ben. How are you, my brother?
I am very well, sir. It's fitting to call you sir. Say, let me go back to my school days since you're my former lecturer. But it's really good to have you. I don't know what your take is on those two matters I just put forward. 2024 budget, I don't know how much of it you've looked at, but what do you think of it? And secondly, the bit about Dr. Bawumia going about for his thank you tour, the former President Mahama also touring the nation, and some of the things they've been saying. Are you, as a political scientist, are you convinced, or is it just the usual propaganda?
Let me address the second one, because at the weekend I had to bury my senior brother, so I've not followed the whole process of the budget.
Right.
But at least I am in touch with the talk and then matters arising. If you look at the Vice President's comment relative to what John Mahama said about the 24-hour
economy.
I'm not an economist, but from just pure commonsensical position. I mean, there is something worth knowing from John Mahama. Countries all over the world, and I'm talking about advanced democracies.
Right.
You come across a society where the 24 hours the state is running, people are working day and night, so to speak. Ghana is one of the countries where we sleep. We work for a certain period of time. We all go to sleep. The night, only few organizations, group work. But if I got JM's message right, he wants to be able to place the country in such a manner that after working for a number of hours, others will also continue from where they left off, so that the whole day and night is utilized for something beneficial for this country. This is a welcoming news. More often than not, you tend to have people who go to work from 8 o'clock to 5 p.m. to close. What happens after 8 p.m.? In other jurisdictions, that is where other groups also go in. They clock in and go and work till the next morning and all that. So if this suggestion is made, why do you want to treat it as a non-issue, something that we already know? Where do we know it? I mean, the fact that Momo operators work, other bodies, also police service and all the rest work. He's saying that I'm expanding the frontiers of this conversation to include a whole sector. What is wrong about this? I don't get it. So the issue is that if you don't have ideas, remember that election is a contest of ideas. And in addition to this, a referendum of your word. So people must demonstrate that they have ideas, and then we interrogate the issue. So I am happy that it has started this way. It is my hope and prayer that we have what issue-based conversation. Sometimes there's political actors will not give it to us, but you and I owe it a duty to ourselves by forcing them to toe that line, by discussing issues. So that I believe that it is appropriate to call for what? A debate, so that that will set the tone for the conversation of what the issues that confront us in society. Because if you leave them, sometimes they throw away salient issues and go for very peripheral issues that do not help anybody. So I believe that the conversation has started in earnest. Let us all look at them and then also direct them to where they ought to be. I think that will make the campaign very useful.
What would be your reaction, though? Because I remember it was yesterday or so in the Daily Graphic, I read Dr. John Osai-Kwapong of the CDD saying the economy is going to be the most important issue. It's going to be a crucial issue as far as the decision of voters is concerned. You look at Liberia, and I'm going to keep saluting, as someone who has been in that country, I'm going to keep saluting George Weah for what he's done, conceding peacefully and everything happening. But the economy, he was brought in, they felt he was so young, he would do so many things. It didn't happen. He's been ousted. The economy is going to be crucial, according to Dr. Osai-Kwapong. Then you look at Fitch Solutions. It says Ghana's fiscal deficit is going to widen in 2024. And then you have the likes of Frank Edu, a former Cowbank head, Alhassan Andani, Stanbic head, saying we are a nation in crisis. And they believe Ghana hasn't had leaders. You put that side by side with Dr. Patrick, assuming yesterday he was at the Stanbic graphic breakfast meeting. And he says this IMF program is the most costly, the most expensive to ordinary Ghanaians that we've ever had. On that trajectory, what do you see as far as the economy is concerned? That's the last thing I'll throw at you before we get into the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
I think what Dr. Osai-Kwapong is saying is not new. We know already. If you follow voter choices, the literature, all right, you will find that the most important factor that voters consider in all elections in this country, is what? The economy. The economy is a game changer, because you and I know that when the economy improves, unemployment is dealt with, when the economy is improved, infrastructure development is taken care of, and a host of other things. So research has shown that irrespective of party tradition, ideology, and the rest of them, people use the economy as a benchmark for assessing who is fit for the highest public office. And so it's not going to be new, but that is going to gain more currency given the fact that we are now in the bosom of the IMF and all the conditions attached to it and all that. These are going to be brought to the fore to the ordinary man and then discussed at length to bring everybody alive to the problem. And this is where we also expect ideas that will take us out of IMF and then so that we can be all self-sufficient and work to redeem ourselves and improve our lot and create conditions, better conditions for ourselves. So the economy has been a very important issue all the time. And this time around, because of the condition we find ourselves, we are going to harp on it.
Thank you for those thoughts shared. Let's get into the papers now. The Ghanaian Times newspaper. Bloody chieftaincy clash at Wanechiki. 7 killed, others injured. Houses torched, many flee. And you can see the picture, the chief's car with a damaged windscreen. I'll bring you details of that story. Non-functioning streetlights, 20 traffic controllers, 31 cables vandalized in Accra. What a country. I mean, how is it even possible to do this? Ghana records $200 million trade surplus in first half. That's according to a trade report. And there's recapitalized distressed state entities to propel growth. That's according to the ICU. On the back page, some sporting news. Black Stars fall to Comoros in World Cup qualifier. At this point in time, you begin to wonder. I believe it's the second time this year that they've fallen to this side. True, you cannot take any team now for granted. I think it is North Macedonia or one of those teams that drew only yesterday or so with England. So you can't take any team for granted. But I feel it is high time we did quite a lot of tweaking with our national team. They are not delivering. And I don't know why some of these players are so selfish. They will not pass to Iñaki Williams. I don't know what it is. Because this guy is good. He plays in the La Liga. He's very good. I don't know what metrics are at play. There are excellent players that will never make it into the national team because of we all know what. You need someone to know someone to do this and to pay that person off. Once we keep doing this and not put our best foot forward, we will continue with this curse, so to speak, on the Black Stars. We spend so much money in there. The least they can do is put smiles on our faces. And I'll also add this. Those players that are a bit too old, that need to step aside, they've paid their dues. Come on, step aside. You don't need to be told. Anyway, hearts break stubborn Accra Lions. I don't know whether you have any take on the Black Stars, Dr. Kwame Asasante, before I start reading the other stories.
I am worried because I used to be a football enthusiast. Love soccer so much. It is some of these things that has really put me in where I am, that now I don't want to gravitate towards soccer anymore. You put all your hopes in the Black Star, and all that you get is pain. And if you don't take a heart attack, it's unfortunate. The politics within the GNFA, I don't know when it will end. We have heard these stories time and again, that there are good players, they will not fail them. There are competent referees, coaches, they will not bring them on board. There are ABC that affect the team. We are alive to this. I am wondering why we have not even started to dealing with the problems. And every time we compound the problem with another problem, and the story is too well to know for us to recount it here. So I think we as a society too, we have left the management of the team to a few people without voicing out seriously. Let us remember that the team, we own the team. We finance the team. So we must take serious interest in that. Once they go for tournaments, they perform abysmally, they come home, we welcome them, console them, and a whole lot, and then we go to sleep. But the self-introspection is missing. The critical assessment that ought to be done is always missing. Left with a few pundits, the commentators, and all that. We as a society should remember that we invest so much in the Black Star. So if they are not delivering, it must be what? A problem or of concern to all of us. And it is from that background that we begin to appreciate the enormous problems that we have in the Black Star and then the way to dealing with it. If we want to shy away from it, only to come in when they are playing match, when they win, and then we glorify them and the rest of them, we will not be doing the team any service. I think the time is now for us to act and act very fast.
Thank you for those thoughts. Now, on page 3, bloody chieftaincy clash at Wanechiki. 7 killed, others injured. Houses torched, and many flee. At least 7 persons, including an aged woman, have been killed and several others injured in renewed chieftaincy clashes at Wanechiki in the Tripoli district of the Northeast region. Multiple houses have been burnt to ashes, while many residents, mostly women and children, have fled to the district capital, Tripoli, and neighboring Togo for their safety. The incident was said to have happened after an attack on the chief of Wanechiki, Na Abuba, who was on his way to Nalerigo for a meeting. Confirming the incident to the Ghanaian Times in a telephone interview, Na Abuba said he was attacked at Dambu on his way to attend a meeting together with Vice President Alhaj Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia at Nalerigo for his thank you tour. When I got to Dambu, a farming community near Wanechiki, I noticed that people had mounted roadblocks with car tires. I became suspicious and asked my driver to reverse the car, but it was too late. They shot their guns towards my direction, which destroyed the windscreen of my car, the chief said. Na Abuba said clashes erupted when the people of Wanechiki heard about the attack on his life and rushed to the scene with arms to retaliate in a sort of reprisal. He says, quote, "My own son lost his life in the gun battle, and presently, or currently I should say, I cannot tell the number of people who lost their lives in the gunshots," like he is quoted to have said. He described the incident as unfortunate, adding that the people of Wanechiki were peace-loving and would not engage in violent activity. So that's the latest there. The DISEC, the District Security Council, has commenced investigations into the incident and given the assurance that, quote, "whoever is found guilty will be dealt with accordingly." In our news yesterday at noon on radio, we also, had some interactions on that matter. But Doc, these issues, whether you're talking of whether it's about, there's this other place in the Volta region, which doesn't readily come to mind, the Alavanyo Nkwanya area, it's been pretty peaceful over a while, arms, proliferation, or these other pockets. I get really worried as a student of national security. I get really worried about some of these developments and how we've not been able to put a firm finger on them to tame them with the insurgency going on in the sub-region. I am very concerned. I don't know what your take is on these matters.
Yeah, I am also worried about this situation. And if you look at chieftaincy problems, I want us to look at it from the perspective of what? Conflict analysis. We always have to go to the root cause of the problem. More often than not, we look at the issue and then the superficial aspect will go away. Oh, the people are fighting. Is this, is that? What is the root cause? If you really want to deal with chieftaincy or any conflict or any problem whatsoever, you go to the root cause. You find out. Then you begin to look at it and look at it holistically. You will see that sometimes it's just family feud that has aggravated to that level. Sometimes you realize what the dirty hands of government in chieftaincy matters. Sometimes you see other political actors also coming to play. You will find these factors very prominent in chieftaincy crisis and this one. Sometimes the institutions that are tasked to deal with chieftaincy matters themselves also have their own problems related towards this issue. So it's a mix of problems, but the state has not taken the trouble to deal with it because sometimes you see that the state is even complicit in the matter. Sometimes you see some big political actors are complicit in the matter. Sometimes you realize that the institutions that are supposed to handle these things are themselves problematic. So they compound the issue. I don't know the root cause of this problem and all that, but I'm speaking generally. And that is the worry that we have, right? Especially when you have the hand of government in such matters, then it's a problem. I'm not saying that this one, the government has a hand in it. I don't know the cause of that. But sometimes when you see the hand of government, it creates there are a whole lot of places that you see. We have seen in this country time and again where government dirty hands are in and they create problems. And society pretends that they have not seen such a hand working behind the scenes to disrupt society. They only come, people are doing this, people are doing that. And then it goes off. Then it festers and then it blows in our face and all that. So we need to do proper self-introspection. And then we as a society must also be interested. Sometimes when these things are happening in other places, we think that it's not within our society. We are far off from that problem, so we don't give a hoot about that. But tell you, give yourself time. If these problems don't get resolved, they'll drag to your doorstep.
Right.
So we all of us must show interest in this thing and then get to the bottom, get to the end, so as to find lasting solutions to this problem.
Right. Let me quickly do this. Doc, in the next maybe 7 minutes, we should be able to get through quite a number of stories. But let me acknowledge this. Bernard Akwe, you say you're watching live from Jankobo. Thank you very much. There's also Dondo Sombare. You say, good morning, Johnny. He's watching you live from Wa, Upper West Region. Loud and clear. In fact, please, you're doing a great job for the people in the regions to help us access the country. Keep it up. Well, we'll continue doing that for all of you. That's what we stand for. On page 3, again, I'll just take headlines from some of the major stories. Major Muhammad's uncle confronts defense lawyer. You know, the defense lawyer for some of the accused against Major Muhammad, those who took his life, has claimed that they did it in self-defense. And Major Muhammad's uncle has taken great exception to that. There's also this one. Nano Hininto, I did no wrong in supporting Alan for president, the former general secretary of the MPP. You know, he together with the likes of Abubakar Sadiq, there's also Hobson Adoye, and there's another person. Let me see whether I can find who the person is. 4 of them. So there's Boniface Sadiq Abubakar, there's Nano Hininto, there's Yabwabena Samwa. Yes, that's the other name. All of them have been expelled from the MPP. Basically, the letter from the General Secretary said, by lending their support to someone other than the person approved by the party, Dr. Bawumia, per the party's constitution, they have basically on their own expelled themselves from the party. And that statement is simply to reiterate that. I don't know what your take is on that, but the story I'm going to do, Ghana records $200 million trade surplus in first half. When there are good things, we have to highlight those as well. And Ghana recorded a trade surplus of $200 million in the first half of the year. The Ghana Statistical Service trade report has revealed. This implies that the country last exported more products than it imported into the country. In the first half of the year, the country exported products to the tune of $8.1 billion and imported products to the tune of $7.9 billion, with most imports coming from China. Of course, gold and mineral fuels and oils were the leading exports in the first half of the year, representing more than half. That is 64% of exports in 2023. And that's what we have to. Imagine Ghana not depending only on gold and these other minerals, and even the black gold. I'm talking about oil. Imagine expanding beyond that, what that could do for our economy. Your quick thoughts on these matters, and then we move to the next paper, Doc.
I will start with the 4 that are sacked from the MPP, the butterfly boys.
Right.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with the party expunging their name from the list of their followers. It's normal. Political parties are organized based on rules and regulations. And if you flout any, you are visited by appropriate punishment. This is a punishment that is ascribed in their constitution So if it is given to them, there's nothing wrong about
Okay.
that. They themselves have announced that they are out of the political party. You can be out of the political party and you still have your name in the books of what? That political party. It creates a problem. So if they have sacked them, there is nothing wrong with that. Those who also left the party and they are with the butterfly movement, there's nothing wrong. They're taking that decision. We all always go to political parties as a way of what? Ensuring that certain interests are catered for and certain programs are developed for the benefit of the ordinary man. If we don't get our interests served, why do we continue to be in there? So sometimes I get worried when the parties want to pin people down in that type of bogus, document that you have to sign that if you don't win election, you continue to stay. You are a law student. That's what you people call unconscionable contract. You engage in that. Those are blackmail tools that always pin people down to where they don't want to be.
But do you think, looking at it, I mean, we've never had a time when so much division, as far as you can, I stand to be corrected, I stand corrected if there's any, that there have been so many schisms. Yes, Alan has left the party before. This would be the second time. But he stepped aside. We've seen the rancor, as far as Kennedy Japong is concerned. We've seen all those who were contending Baumia, at least the last 5 or so, point to manipulation, the use of other tactics to secure the win for a certain candidate. Now we are seeing some of them in a very uncharacteristic manner lending their support to someone apart from the party's flag bearer. What does that mean for the MPP?
It is normal. It's not new. What it means is that there are people, when you are undertaking internal party contests, they have every right to belong to whatever they want to belong to. But if at the end of the exercise, the people they follow, they supported, decide to leave the party, they are not ready to leave the party because they believe that political parties are more important than movement and the rest of them. Some of them too is based on their own dreams and aspirations and all that. But they see the party as the omnipotent, the all-important entity. So any other decision that would take them out of this type of family, they are not ready for it. So it's not surprising. It's normal that you have people who support one candidate. As soon as the person leaves, they are not going to live with the person. They are going to stay. It tells you how the attachment people have to what political parties as opposed to what individuals and others. And this goes to give you an idea as to the strength of political parties within the political space of Ghana compared to what individuals who want to go on their own to champion certain cause. That's why they are always needed. The political parties are much stronger.
Right. Okay, so let's wrap with this clutch of stories and then we're done. The Daily Guide newspaper, Afoko's third trial set for December the 5th, and this Afoko trial has gone on forever. It's like the JB Dankwedu issue as well. Speaker's residence not sold. In recent times, he came out about some, but I find it interesting because the Daily Guide seems to be going on a rampage when it comes to this. He never said it was sold. He said it came close to being sold, that he found out, and of course, that wasn't carried out. Baumia fires Mahama over 24-hour economy. We've already spoken about this. And I think sometimes the papers themselves also engage in a lot of propaganda rather than delving into the core issues. 8 dead in Nkwanta clashes, curfew imposed. We've already looked at that story. Let me wrap with the final newspaper. Yagbonwura inskins Dr. Baumia as chief of Unity. That's on his thank you tour. Customs seizes illicit tobacco products worth 7.9 million Ghana cedis. And maybe the one I want to focus on briefly. All hands on deck needed to execute 2024 budget. That's according to Information Minister Kojo Ponkruma. But the question is, with all the concerns about the budget, will you force the hands to get on deck? Your take as we wrap, Doc.
Yeah, all hands on deck to support the 2024 budget. Yes. This is the financial statement of the government. It is composed of 2 things, expected revenue and expenditure. If we feel that there is some aspect of the expenditure which we don't share, obviously people will not support that aspect. Those they believe they are genuine and that they will bring smiles to the faces of people and give us hope and the means of livelihood. Why will people shy away from this? So all these things will come up in the debate of the budget. But Mr. Minister should just be calm and allow people to exercise their rights. It's not the case that a budget is thrown out there so everybody supports. No. It's going to be interrogated and then critically assessed. So if at the end of the day they feel that it's a budget worth maintaining, why not? If not, they will vote against it. It's a normal practice in Parliament. One, it ensures value for money, and two, it promotes our priority over any other interest that is not necessary.
Right.
And above all, it also provides the focus and direction of government. And here I'm talking about the policy direction of government. So all these things put together are going to inform we as to whether we support the budget or throw it into the lake of fire.
Well, the difference in Parliament is one vote, and the minority has said that even if it comes down to that thin wire, they will vote on conscience against certain aspects of the budget, and if the majority goes ahead to vote for it, at least their hands will be clean in the matter that they did not subscribe to some of what has been proffered. A few days ago, I had an interaction with business, big business, and they said, there was nothing really in this budget to celebrate, but it is our budget. And we'll see how it goes. This also, interestingly, reminds me of what actually led to the political demise of Hilal Liman, Dr. Hilal Liman, that infamous budget that eventually led to his ouster. Anyway, that's it, Doc.
You realize that political parties and, their actors have not got the courage to throw budgets away when they are not fit for purpose. We urge them to do that so that when government is taking the trouble to prepare budget, it will, tighten all the bolts and knots so that they pass the real test of the society.
And we see, even in the UK, when, what's his name? The Ghanaian who was it something Kwarteng?
Yes. Kwesi
Kwarteng. You see, he had to be sacrificed. The costs are real. Things had to be taken out, retweaked. He had to be sacrificed. He was sacked. One of the fastest we've ever seen. But in our part of the world, our thinking is very different. But Doc, thank you so much for joining the conversation this morning. Always making it fantastic.
I wish you a good day.
All right. That is Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, political scientist, director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. This message is from Kwame Jumo Ajeman, a former colleague of mine, wonderful guy. He says, happy birthday, loads to Mrs. Efua Arthur of First Atlantic Bank. Have a good one, little sister. And that is from Kwame Jumo Ajeman to Mrs. Efua Arthur, First Atlantic Bank. Happy birthday to you. If you're anywhere watching us celebrating your birthday today or any special anniversary, well, we celebrate you as well. Right before we get into sports, this segment is brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering free prostate screening, free fertility screening for women. If you'd like to take advantage, just reach them at any of their branches here in Accra, Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronumabwe here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanso and Esiaman Zima. You can reach them in all of these places. Their call lines, 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Sports is up next. Do stay.